I'm not sure what happened. I think our intro got cut off, but that's so ghetto.
Well, I'll do it. I want to love you.
Right,
I want to love
StreamYard.
you forever.
And
Forever. And we've arrived.
right. Why is StreamYard being ghetto? What happened here? That's ridiculous. Anyways, you guys, welcome to 90 the Melanated Way. I'm Linda. That's April. We are catching up on all things season 11, episode 12 and 13 of 90 Day Fiance. I know we're behind. I know a lot has happened, especially this Sunday with all the weddings and all the things. Hey, Rebecca. Hey, girl. Hey. But we're almost there. We're almost there. And we have a lot to say about episode 12 and 13. We do have a special guest. He's one of my favorites. We became friends when I met him in LA. He was a little bit like bougie for a New Yorker. You know what I mean? Like he was like a New Yorker. He's previous police, but he was a little bit bougie. That was my first impression, you guys. But he redeemed himself. And we've been friends for some time now. I want you guys to welcome. Look at Kelly's face. Is like, what? Brooklyn doesn't play, y'all. Welcome, Kelly, to the stage.
What's up?
Woo! Round of applause for Kelly.
Come on. Nah, I was just being cautious. You gotta understand, I'm East Coast dude in the West Coast, you know. Last time Biggie was out there, I ain't trying to get caught out there, so I was just being quiet.
We can't even talk about that because we already know the truth. Tupac is the truth. Diddy is where he's at. We already know. So I know you're not claiming East Coast on the facts that we know right now. Right?
I just want to say that the South got something to say. Okay.
I mean, the West has something. The West has something to say.
Okay, Mr. Jermaine Dupree.
And
okay.
I feel like the East needs to be quiet right now.
No, the East is good. Y'all keep bothering us. We over here trying to make money. We good right now. We chilling.
Are you?
Yeah, we chilling.
Yeah.
No matter what, y'all always bring us into the argument all the time. We mind our business.
Because y'all running amok.
Come on. We started. We started and it spreads out.
You guys, Kelly's going to be our New York expert because we have a lot going on the East Coast, as you know. Despite what he's saying, the East Coast is in a little bit of a conundrum going on right now, but we're going to power through. So we're going to talk about episode 12, Blinded by Love, first. As you guys know, I'm not a fan of this whole Annie, Amani, Matt situation. It's not a true throuple. Still waiting to get my throuple expert on, and we'll have him on. But that being said, this is trash. And I know a lot of you guys have finished the season. You guys are waiting for the tell-all, and you know who got married, who didn't get married. And I've been saying since day one, this throuple who is still married, one of them is like a sex worker, all the things. It was never going to happen. They should never have been. Kelly's eyes. They should never have been on the original 90 day. I'm okay with them being on before the 90 days to see how that plans out. But the original 90 days, they didn't belong on. And that's why all the couples we saw, we didn't see anything about them. We didn't see a countdown. We didn't see them in this last episode, if you guys are further ahead. But long story short, on episode 12, Amani creates a date for Annie and Matt to go on a separate solo 2-person, in my opinion, regular date. And they're going to have a couple date instead of a throuple date planned by Amani so that they can get closer together because, as you know, Amani told Matt that Annie loves her more than she loves Matt, which has created a weird dynamic, but Amani's okay with it because she's always wanted to be in the number one position. They're having tacos or whatever. It's super awkward. Matt admits that he's been a bit jealous, which is something that you guys, Abby and Kelly, that, you know, we need to talk about. Because you can imagine being in a throuple and one of the people in the throuple is saying, hey, you know, I'm jealous that my wife is in the number one position. Meanwhile, we already know that Amani has been jealous this whole time, that she thought Matt was in the number one position, but then found out that he wasn't. So she felt better about the relationship. What are you guys' thoughts on that?
I'll let Kelly go first.
Oh, why you gotta know ladies first? But I mean, that's always the case when it comes to a throuple relationship. There's always going to be jealousy and the hierarchy of who's what, whose position. If you got to know your role, who's what, and who gets more attention. If you look at all, like even with 90 Day and these other shows with the freaking sister wives, the polygamy family. I watched that. They have the similar situation too, where it's like, all right, one person has the attention that they thought they was going to get, but they didn't, and then they realize how the other person is getting treated differently, the way they wanted to be treated. It's always going to be that way. That's why everybody say you have to have a talk and be secure and please. Right.
Would you ever be in a throuple? Would you ever be in a throuple, Kelly?
You know what? After watching all that stuff, no. I can barely handle one. You think I'm going to be in? No.
Why did you assume that it had to be two women?
You got. Oh Lord Jesus Christ! You got me.
Okay, so the only thing that I can relate this to is a kid with two parents in the house. Or even like not two parents in the house, but two parents, period. You know, your kid goes through phases where they might prefer one parent over the other. And it may have no logical basis. You could be the parent who's providing them with everything they need, all the comfort, love, and support, and they still prefer that other parent to you. It just happens sometimes. Like, that's normal. I don't think that it is the typical human condition that we enjoy everyone around us equally.
So what I've said from the beginning, you guys, is I don't think Annie, Imani, and Matt are a typical throuple situation, given what we've seen on TLC and Seeking Sister Wives and Seeking Sister Husbands. I think they
freaks.
I think Imani would like to be a lesbian with a side of Matt.
Yeah, but I also do think that they're making up their own thing. I think it was more for like celebrity. I don't think that they were ever going to marry Annie because, like I said, you guys, there was never a timeline. We see a timeline. There's 60 days, there's 40 days, there's 11 days to get married. We never saw that. You can rewind from the first episode of season 11. You'll never see that with them. It was a lot of like drama and all this stuff. And one of the things I want to share with you guys is that I saw Imani's Instagram recently, and she looks like I didn't even recognize. I didn't know it was her. And it was on my personal page, not on the Melanated Way page. And I was like, what is this? And she shared how she got a bunch of plastic surgery, which, you know, we here at the Melanated Way say, do what you got to do to make you feel beautiful and all that stuff. There's no judgment here. But at the same time, she was talking about how, because she looked completely, I didn't recognize her. She looked completely different. BBL. Oh, yeah, go ahead. Look it up. She looks completely different, Abby. She got a nose job and some like type of thing here, a BBL.
Why all females? What's up with the facelift and why do y'all face push back? Why do y'all do that? Why females do that?
I don't know. I'm not there yet, so I don't know, Kelly. I can't.
You'll never be there. Don't worry about that.
But like the cat eye thing is like
I don't get it. I don't get it.
But she looks totally different. But then she sat there, and what was interesting to me is that she sat there and talked about how plastic surgery doesn't change who you are. You really have to like dig deep and find out who you are as a person, because if you don't, are you looking at it, Abby?
This is so confusing.
Right, because she's saying don't do plastic surgery because you really have to deal with whatever your insecurities are. But then she had a bunch of plastic surgery.
Yeah, and she's also talking about being a proud Tunisian woman and embracing that part of herself. And I don't know, man. I have a whole thing about plastic surgery. So those of you who don't know, I had a tumor removed here twice. And so I've always had the option of having plastic surgery to fill in the asymmetry here. And my thought process in going through like different consultations was always, do I need it? Like, is it going to have more risk than potential benefits? And they tell you up front, or at least the surgeons I went to told me, we can't guarantee that the filler is going to settle where we put it. We can't tell you in the beginning how many surgeries you're going to need. And once you have that first surgery, you have to do maintenance. You can't just have one surgery and then you're done. There's going to be forever maintenance for the rest of your life. So whatever kind of surgical procedures that you have or injections you have, you're going to have to do something to modify it. You're not going to be happy. That's what they told me. They said, honestly, you're not going to be happy with your first result.
Wow.
And
I
so like
didn't know
having
that.
someone be that honest with you, I don't know that it would ever be smart to like you'd have to be so unhappy with yourself to
Well,
listen
I
to
guess
those
that's why
risks.
the Silva twins have continued on. That makes more sense to me, right? That they're saying
That's
if
your
they continue
girls.
on, they are Kelly. They are. Darcy's my
I
Darcy's.
know you've been saying that from day one. I got
I
you.
have because
But
Darcy
Abby,
and I are cool.
your situation is different. You know, you had something medically done for a people just going to get it done. Ain't nothing wrong with them. They're just modifying stuff that they feel in their mind that they need to enhance or change. That's
But
why.
I
No,
also
go
do
ahead.
think, Kelly, that the surgeons hold some accountability, right? So you're
How?
thinking, like, just like Abby said, you're thinking, oh, this is what's bothering me. I'm going to get it done one time. And the surgeon's like, no, it's going to be multiple.
They got to
That's
make money. They have to make
that's
money.
it. That's
When
it.
you bring your car to a mechanic and they tell you got one thing and you leave and come back to something else, right? They know something's wrong with it. They're not going to fix it fully. You got to think of it that way. Just like when people get their boobs done, you got to change every 5 years. It's just a tune up. You got to keep
Yeah.
doing it. And how are you going to make money if you just do one procedure? I'm gonna tell
You're
you anything too.
That's facts. Those are
Yeah.
facts.
So I don't know. I mean, like that was very confusing to look at. If her post was just like, "Oh, I got a lot of surgery and I love myself," I would have understood that a lot more than the post being, "I love myself and I'm a proud Tunisian woman, but with all that surgery."
But also, she
Let me
said
come
that
on here. Let me come on here and say I'm a proud Black American woman after I get a rhinoplasty.
But
What?
she also said, Abby, that she would not have done it. Like she really realizes that she needs to work on herself and her insecurities.
But don't they say like before you get the surgery you have to like go to counseling or see a doctor and
I mean,
see
Yeah,
some
but Kelly,
doctors
you
won't
already
require
answered your
that.
own question, right? So the
I'm
doctor is not going to say, "Hey, don't get the surgery and don't spend these,
yeah.
I don't know, tens of thousands of dollars." They're going to be like,
Yeah.
"Are you sure?"
Hmm.
You
Right?
can shop around for the one hill. One of my sisters had a surgeon who told her, you need to lose X amount of weight before we'll do, like, she wanted tummy tuck lipo. And she found a doctor who would do it without her losing any weight. And then
Mm.
what happened? She gained
She
it back.
gained
Her
it back.
stomach still looked good though.
Her stomach still looks good.
Yeah, because
Okay.
when you have C-sections back in the day,
Hmm.
they used to do C-sections like this.
Now they
And
do it
so
like
she had,
this,
yeah, now they do it like this. So she had
and that's
two
what they
sections
do the
like this.
BBL like that too.
So yeah, so she had a
The
butt in
tummy
the
tuck.
front from the C-sections, and when they did the tummy tuck, they
Hmm.
pulled her stomach up and gave her a new belly button. So even though she gained a bunch of weight back, her belly still looks good.
Yeah. Why are you laughing over there, Linda?
It's too much for me. It's too much. It sounds painful. It sounds too much,
Yeah.
and I
I
always want to just be respectful, but like
Yeah, I
no
came
thank
across a
you.
couple of females that had the tummy tuck, and I noticed the scar, and I pay attention to body details and see what work has been done.
Oh, do
That's
you?
another thing I can't
Mhm.
conceptualize living with that scar voluntarily. Like you had the weight before, like that was how you were naturally shaped and you were with it, but voluntarily having that kind of scarring
Oh yeah,
because
it's there.
I know how much my scar itches. It's been years. I've had this for years and I still go through maddening itching sometimes.
Mhm.
And like so voluntarily having that scar, that's actually kind of painful in and of itself, no matter how much you heal.
Yeah, I mean, You're right, and they give you that ointment to say it's going to go away, but no, that scar stays there. Yeah, Linda, I pay attention to everything. You know, I
I
take
mean,
notes.
clearly. I'm not. I like I said, you guys, we are body friendly here. Do what you got to do, but like for me, y'all know how I feel about like needles and like it's too much.
Yeah.
It's too much. Like
Wait a minute. Becca got some gossip.
who
Becca,
has
who trash
gossip?
talk? Who trash talk Becca?
Yo, she did. Remember they was doing it in the beginning when they got introduced into the 90-day thing, and one Sophie was doing the waist thing or whatever, the butt thing,
Waist.
and
I do waist
they were going back
trainers.
and forth.
Yeah, waist trainers.
Yeah, they were going back and forth. Remember? That's when they was
Yeah.
and she started getting at
Oh,
Sophie before they was even introduced. And they
I'll
were
wow.
tell
going
you
back
Okay.
and
this,
forth.
y'all. Waist trainers work.
They do.
Waist trainers work. I have look. I have one right here. I'll show you. So this is a waist trainer that I use right
Mhm.
here. It like
Okay.
it has like the boning stuff in it.
Mhm.
It listen, y'all. This right here has helped me so much. I can't even explain it to you. And as you like get smaller, you have to go down. And I have a
Mhm.
neighbor who's like an older lady that I give my waist trainers to, and she's doing the whole thing, and it's a whole thing. So everyone that's saying that it doesn't work, you guys are obviously doing them because you have to do them literally every day and
Mhm.
for an extended period of time. It's a whole thing.
Hmm.
So that being said, we're still only on Amani and
I'm
Annie and
sorry.
Matt. If we're not trying to be here for 5 hours, we have to move ahead.
Okay, sorry.
So we talked about how Amani felt like she was in a position of power because Annie loved her more. Annie and Matt have a couple date outside of the throuple. It's super awkward at first. They're gonna like do like tacos and all this. By the way, you guys, I found this taco spot in LA. It's called the Great White Hut. And when I say I could eat tacos there every single day, and Uber Eats might be my best friend.
Yeah. I heard a lot of my Cali friends say y'all represent hard with the tacos over there on that side.
The
Y'all
taco,
going in.
Kelly, the tacos are outrageous. And then if you order them with the soft taco, and then you
Mm.
can add cheese in between. So they'll do like the shell, they'll
Mm.
melt the chocolate, they'll do chocolate.
They
They'll melt
absolutely
the
got us beat on Mexican food.
yeah,
Yeah,
the
I
cheese,
heard they
and
got
then
that on a lot.
they'll do like another layer, and then they'll do like asada or chicken or veggie and onion. Oh my god. Listen, paying like $8 for a delivery fee for something that I can go pick up in 5 minutes, it's outrageous. But I have done it, and the tacos are
Mm.
amazing. And then they do a 2-for-1. Forget about it.
Oh, that's the best.
Yeah, forget about it. It's so outrageous. It's so outrageous, and it's not on brand with like the healthy thing that I've told you guys I've been doing since last August. But tacos. So they have this date. It's awkward. Matt admits that he's a bit jealous because of what Annie told him that, or excuse me, Imani told him that Annie said that Annie loves Imani more, which is like so high school. You guys, you know how I feel about this throuple. I think they're not genuine. I think that TLC did us a disservice because we have already seen what real throuples look like, and this isn't it.
And weren't
So
they
if
on
you want
a show before? They were on a show before. The main
yeah, like
couple.
yeah, so Amani and Matt have been on some like Get Rich something some other reality show.
Mm. I thought it
They
was a
need to
Yeah.
go
dating
on
thing,
that
but
Playboy
okay.
TV show.
What's that?
They need to go on that Playboy TV reality show.
And
I
what
thought it
did
was
you
a
say,
dating thing.
Kelly?
I thought it was a dating thing or something dealing with dating or whatever.
They have a show specifically for people who want to be like swingers.
Have y'all been to a swinger party? Okay.
Kelly,
No.
we're on YouTube with a bunch of people, right? Like this is not the green
He
screen.
thinks we're having a little chat.
I'm just
Right.
saying,
Kelly,
like,
what we chat about offline and online is not the same.
but
Get
I
it
love how y'all both
together.
paused. Y'all was
I
like,
get I get it's been some time you've been on our show, but please get it together.
Y'all both was like, okay.
Oh, I love Kelly being here and more outlandish than me.
Yeah, because I was like, does he still think we're not live streaming?
I'll behave. I'm sorry. Just thinking about thruples and all that stuff, you know.
Okay.
Okay, but
One.
Kelly,
I'm
like,
right. I'm sorry.
we're live.
I'm sorry.
We're not in the green screen. We're live.
Sorry. I'll behave.
Okay. Ugh. So Becca's like, this live took a left turn.
I'm sorry. I'll behave so you can invite me back again. I'll behave.
So Annie basically is on this one-on-one date with Matt, which I wanted to ask you guys, how would you feel? Let's say you were open to a throuple because Kelly opened that door. So let's say you were open to a throuple, you're in a throuple or you're in like a swinger type of relationship or an open relationship or whatever. I'll start with you, Abby, and then I'll end with you, Kelly. Would you be okay with the other two parties going on a separate date without you? And would you plan that
Absolutely.
date?
Would I plan it? No. Can they go on a date without me? Yes. Get out of my face. I don't need to see either one of you every single day.
Oh. Kelly?
I agree. And
Oh.
I wouldn't have a problem with it, but I'm not like Abby said, I'm not going to plan it. That's between you two. I think for the relationship to work, you should designate certain days of the week of dating separately here and there to spread it out, because you're going to get tired and they're going to be bickering here and there.
Okay. I would not ever plan for the other person to be on a separate date. I would also never be in a throuple. As you guys know, I've been approached a billion times. I think that this is ridiculous. I don't believe in it. I think this is why there's jealousy and insecurity and all the things. So nope. I wouldn't plan it. I wouldn't be in it. I don't believe in it. I think it's trash. I think it's trash here. I think it's trash on Seeking Sister Wives, Seeking Brother Husbands, all the things. Y'all, it's hard to just be with one person. And then you're with one person for like 5. And you know what I noticed? The people that want to be in these thruples, they've been married for their person for like 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. So you're bored. Now you want to bring in a third person that's never going to be equal to all of the history you have with that person. That person's never going to be equal. That's why this last Seeking Sister Wives, the black throuple, I can't remember their names, but the one girl who was like, oh, I'm so in love, we're going to get married, we're engaged, she's pieced out. She left them because guess what? They've been together for like 10 years. She was there for like 5 years. It was never equivalent. Y'all stop playing.
That's why you got to know your lane. That's the whole, it's certain rules to the game. You just don't come in and expect to get, you got to know that's the main woman right there or the main man, that they have a connection. You got to build your own connection and your own memories with this person and with the group. You got to, when you step out of your lane, that's when it don't work. You got to know the hierarchy.
Here's what I'm saying. I would never be the person that's trying to build my lane. If you're with someone for 10 years and then...
Even if you think about it, say, all right, you got Africans, Arabs, even sister wives. You got one main one, the first one. She's boom, 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 and then everybody else falls in. You try to keep it equal, but that main one is always going to call the shots. It is what it is.
And what I'm saying, Kelly, is that I would have to only ever be the main one, period. Full stop. End of story. That's what I'm saying.
I said I don't want it. I can't even deal with one. So what make I don't want 3.
Once again, I would like to ask, why does it have to be 2?
No.
Why does it have to be what?
2 women.
It ain't happening. We're not playing sword fights.
Kelly's about to sort you out over there. Abby.
All right,
even the other show, the Polygamy Family or whatever, it's the 2 guys and the 2 wives, and I was trying to understand dynamics too, and it was just wild. And then what happened? The 2 guys bump heads, but they went back to their main wives,
Yep.
into their corner, and they worked it out, and then eventually they chill. And they did explain the females did not get along right away.
Mm,
They did say that, so that's how
mm,
it's not easy.
yeah.
Listen, y'all, this is not how we were built. We're moving on because literally we're still on the first
Okay,
episode.
okay, okay, okay.
Okay,
Sorry.
so um Annie basically says to Matt, hey, you know what? You have to show me that you love me more. I know I said that I love Amani more, but it's because we've not spent enough time together. And then we hear about Annie's ex, Ray. And Amani has reached out to him. She's been texting him, wants to meet up with him. Amani feels like she needs to know answers because she doesn't feel like she knows enough about Annie. And um Amani's like, hey, we're gonna go meet for Matt for the first time. I've been texting him. I need some answers. Yes, Annie doesn't know about it, but we need to know because we've been sending her money, which is a thing, right, Abby, that I want to talk about. And so they meet with Ray. He's not what they expected. And I want to talk to you from an immigration perspective on just like sending money, because a lot of immigrants in America send money back to their home countries versus being in a situation where you're in a relationship that it might be a 90-day situation and you're sending money to,
Mm-hmm,
like, whether it's a third world country, but to the immigrant. Can you talk
mm-hmm.
a little bit about that?
It's very common. It's very common if your currency exchange is lower than being in the US. It's very common for the person in the US to send money to the other person. The number one reason why is because if there is a huge change in a difference in time zone, then the American person will pressure the person in the other country to be available for their phone calls, video calls, whatnot. And if the immigrant responds, but I have to work, then it's just, oh, I'll send you money. That's the most common way that it happens. It also happens because they'll say, oh, my car broke or my car broke down. It's only $25. Can you help me fix my car? And it's such a low amount of money for us, generally for the average American, that they'll start off sending like a low amount of money and then it just increases over time until you've got that person on payroll. It's very common. People even use remittances as evidence of their relationship. Or they'll be sending money because of something that you're supposed to be building together. We're going to have a store together. We're going to have a house together. And so you're sending money that's supposed to be for that. Very, very common.
I think of Nicole and Azan, right? That store that they were supposed to have, that Azan's like, let me just take this money and run with it. But that's what it reminds me of. Okay, moving on to Sarper and Shekinah. They need to fix the relationship. Sarper feels like their relationship was a 1 in a million and they're soulmates, but he does feel weak because he can't work while he's in the US. He doesn't feel 100% himself. And my note literally says, I get that. You guys, I feel like Kelly and Abby, you guys don't really understand when someone leaves their entire life from where they were born and raised. And I'll use Kelly, Brooklyn as an example because I know you know.
Mm-hmm.
You born and raised in Brooklyn. All your friends, your family, your life, your job has always been in Brooklyn. You meet someone who's not from Brooklyn, who you love, you spend time with, you go back and forth traveling, blah, blah, then you decide you're going to pick up your life, you're going to move to their city. You move to their city, you don't know anybody, you don't know that lifestyle, you don't know what you're really going to do for work, all of the things. You've literally left everything behind. So when Sarper says that, he feels depressed, he feels alone, he feels a little
Mm-hmm.
bit angry, he feels like he's lashing out. Those things are all relatable. You guys, coming from
Mm-hmm.
Canada to America, those are all same things. When you're coming and you can't work, you have to wait for your green card, you're relying on somebody else to provide for you. And if they're not great people, they can be in a position of authority over you and use that against you, right? Yeah. And then you don't drive because you have to go through that whole process. So they're
I was going to
literally
say that
saying,
you depend on that person more on a lot. Even if you do have access to a car, you still got to know where you're going, what things are, so you want that person to inform you on a lot of stuff because you don't know where to go. You don't know what to do. So it's very hard. Speaking from experience, it's not easy.
it's
But
not easy.
in the same token, I think they're setting this up for another show, but we're going to continue with that.
I've yet to see anybody in the 90-day world have their fiance come and have a plan for what their fiance can do, how they could spend their time while they're waiting for the wedding and then filing for their residency.
They're not
I
thinking
would
like
have a plan.
but you're different.
Yeah, but I wish somebody would just say, like, for example, I'm here in DC, right? If I had somebody coming over on a fiance visa, they would have a fully loaded Metro card. I would immediately show them how to ride the train. I would say, like, do you want to visit all the museums while you're waiting? Do you want me to show you where the libraries are? I want to show you where your community is. So wherever it is that your home country is, there's a community of these people in DC. So here's where you can go to meet these people so that you can have a break from speaking English all the time, because that's just taxing on the brain to be English all the time. It's really hard. And nobody that we've seen so far has like had a plan for their spouse. And I've seen people come to the United States and develop mental illness. Like the change is so triggering for some people, depending on where you're from, that it causes you to have that spark of psychosis that maybe was already there, maybe it wasn't there. But you know what I'm saying? Like, and so it's really hard. And their situation is even harder because she's telling him he has to leave the house every single time she has a client come in, but she gives him absolutely nothing to do.
Because she's not thinking about him. A lot of people are very selfish in that relationship aspect where they want you in their world. That's it. They're not really thinking about what they can combine in both worlds. They just think about their situation, their comfort zone. It was like you said, you that's what I say, you're different. A lot of people don't think that. They think, okay, they're here. I'm happy to be in my dwelling. They're in my environment. They're not thinking about the other person's needs and wants. They're just thinking about themselves. That's why you see a lot of couples go back and forth, because it's slightly a control thing, really. Like,
yes,
I want to keep them here so I know they don't go out and cheat and have options and do all types of stuff. I have the situation under control. I mean, even if you're not even thinking that way, it's there a little.
It is. It is.
100%. I also tell everyone, and you guys know from following and watching us, that vacay bay is different than living with bay. Vacay bay, you are out there on your vacation, you're on your best behavior. 1 week, 2 weeks, you're living your best lifestyle. You're presenting your best self. But actually, when you live with someone, so now you are in their day-to-day, it's a completely separate situation. And you're going to see the worst of the worst, because that's what real life is about. And sometimes, as I've told you guys, vacay bay should just stay vacay bay.
That's period. Right. You don't have to like make a relationship out of everything.
Yeah, but a lot of people get caught up. They get caught up. That's the problem. When you're not used to a certain thing and the butterflies and everything's beating in your head and you just in la la land, you get that you technically caught up. That's the whole bottom line. The weekend love is knocking everything out the box, and you want it all the time instead of the weekend. You want it a whole 7 days. And
stop being greedy. What DMX tell y'all? DMX told y'all to stop being greedy.
Not the microphone. Not the microphone, Abby.
That's what happens. You get caught up. Look, that's one of my tests. We do vacation. I got to see how you are out of your environment for 5 days. After that, if we can survive, then I'm like, all right, we'll see what's up. But if that don't work, I'm done. I'm not even.
The real test is a cruise, Kelly. Go on a cruise. That's the big test.
We stuck cruise or any. You're stuck together. You got to see the person. You're not going nowhere. They can't. The salesperson got can't come in all the time. You know, you gotta see the person. That's my
Facts.
test.
Those are facts. Those are facts. So Sarper and Shekinah are going back and forth. Sarper says, if we break up, you'll cry for me for years, and I'm the perfect match for you. I'm your soulmate, all of that. You're not going to find a relationship that's better than this. And I got to tell you that at first, it like ruffled my feathers. I was like, he's being super like narcissistic, but at the same time, he's not wrong.
Why? You got to boost yourself up. You got to.
You've got not only that's so New York. You have to boost yourself up.
Hello, Beyonce did a song. To the left, box to the left. Come on, she did a whole song about that. So you have to boost yourself. I'm sorry, it's not being.
Not only do you have to boost yourself,
you have to let them know, like, look, I am that dude for you. I'm that woman for you. It is,
and they are, because the way they do, like, their whole all the thing, the plastic surgery, the hair, they are perfect for each other. Mm-hmm. And I feel like just this season, I realized that. I didn't realize it back then because I wasn't a fan of Sarper, but he's really turned me around.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think he's right as well.
Yeah. So we find from Shekinah that she never really wanted to get married ever. And they have this discussion, the fight that they're having, and she's basically saying, I'm giving you an out. One of the things that I think that is difficult about this is that, you guys, when you're arguing with your partner, you have to argue not only with integrity, but with a specific purpose. When you're like just like throwing all this stuff out here just to be mean, it seems very immature. And that's what I got from Shekinah. Like, I was like, oh, you're being immature right now, and you're throwing out whatever you want to throw up because you feel hurt, you feel threatened, you feel like he might leave you first. And y'all, we're grown. We're all grown. We're all past 25. So at that point, you need to know how to argue properly, to make your point, and to not be like threatening, to not be like insecure. And I know we all have our insecurities, and that's a thing. But when you're arguing with someone and you're basically like, oh, I'm giving you an out, when really you know that she doesn't want him to leave. In that situation, if you're like, I'm giving you your out, I'd be like, peace out. I'm taking it. Thoughts?
Yeah, I agree. I think you should always remember, this is somebody that I love, and I want to assume the best out of them. Don't assume the worst out of what they say. Assume the best intentions. And if you're arguing or having a discussion, heated discussion from that standpoint, you're going to come out of it better than if you're making digs at each other. Because if you start making digs at me, I'm just not even going to respond to the argument anymore. At this point, you're bald-headed. Never mind, I won't finish that. like I'm gonna go for, if you start insulting me, I am going to say the nastiest thing I can think of, because at that point the relationship is over. You're insulting me. I had one time, I'm sorry, I had one time where this guy said something mean about my dad while we were in the midst of an argument. And that was it. I was done. Everything I said from that point forward was just to make him feel small.
I agree with both of you. I agree with both. And even though you gave the age of 25, people that are old, it's all on your maturity, how you are, what's your pattern, what you're used to in a relationship. Because I had people throw stuff at me, and I, like Abby said, I'm like, look, I've learned now not to entertain it, because I'm like, look, you're not worth, I know you're upset, I know you're angry, I'm going to walk away for a second and let you cool off. Now, if you continue to keep going there, then we're going to have a problem. Then I'm going to unleash you like Abby. But other than, I'm going to give you that pass the first go around. I'm going to let you slide. And then after that, if you continue, then it's on. And then I'm leaving. One thing I noticed, we tend to get together, and when you get comfortable and you share things, you should not use that information weaponized to throw it in the person's face. And people tend to do that. So, and that's why I tell people that in the beginning of the relationship, look, I'm not going to disrespect you, and I expect you not to disrespect me. What I tell you, what I confide in you is me giving trust into you in this relationship. I do not expect it to be thrown back in my face because I will never do it to you.
That
Count
Mhm.
part.
my word, I will not do that to you. So
That
once
part.
you do that to me,
We're
it's
done.
over. I'm over. That's why a
Yeah.
It's
lot of
done.
guys don't like to share anything.
It's done. Moving on to Greg and Joan. And you guys, we brought Kelly on because, he's a New York, Brooklyn expert. So Joan and Greg are washing their dogs. They live in Long Island, which is completely separate and apart. I watched a super funny video where people are like, "Where are you from?" And they're like, "I'm from New York, New York, I'm from New York." But then you ask, like, where are you specifically from? And, Long Island. Just say you're from
Yeah,
upstate New
that's
York. Don't
bit
say you're from New York. Because when we think New York, we think Brooklyn, we think
five
Harlem, we
boroughs.
think
Yeah,
Chelsea, right? That
mm-mm.
it's a different thing, but
Yeah,
don't get me started.
yeah. Long
So
Island is a
she's
different
watching
breed. Different breed from the five
100%.
boroughs, just like upstate. You consider upstate and Long Island the same breed because they're completely different. And with him, you got to understand where he's from and his upbringing because they're Italian Long Island. That's how they are. Long Island, Staten Island. You can say Staten Island a little bit more. Long Island. That's how they are. They stay together. The sons stay with their moms until they freaking get this money and the parents buy them the home. That's the culture. That's how it is. All the Long Islands are all like, unless you dirt poor cheap. I mean, dirt poor, then you work on your own. But other than that, that's the structure out there. Like we stay with moms, we save this money, and then they help us buy this home, get our first
So he
home.
got the first part down, stay with mom, but something happened on the second
Yeah,
part.
now after
The
that,
good
they ain't
part.
hurt. You handle that. But that's the culture out there, especially with Italian people. Definitely, that's their culture. So I mean, they are typical, especially the area where he's from. Oh yes, that's how they are all the way. Was it
All the
Lindenhurst?
way.
Lindenbrook? I gotta look it up. Lindenbrook? Yeah, definitely. I'm very familiar with that area. I'm like, oh, okay.
So, so Joan is washing dogs with Greg, and that's the first time she's experiencing that. And one of the things that was funny was that Greg was like, this is the most action that I've seen. It's more than what I've gotten lately. And which is funny to me. And the other thing that I wanted to ask you guys, because I know, Kelly, that you have dogs. I don't know if you
Mhm.
have dogs, Abby. I want a dog, but I'm not home. But one of the things that Joan is not willing to do is let the dog sleep in the bed with them.
Mhm.
And y'all have heard what I've had to say over the years about dogs and cats in the house. I'll start with you, Abby. Would you let your dog sleep in the bed with you at night? Oh, and you know what? We talked about this because you had that cat, and so I already know the answer, and I'm not impressed. But go ahead.
So my cat, I did used to let sleep with me. She would sleep on my head, like on the pillow. I had a dog as a kid, but it was always an outside dog. I dated someone who had a dog, and his dog slept in the bed. And I just made
With
myself
you
get
guys?
used to it because,
With you guys?
yeah, I
Uh,
made myself get used to it because he was that fine.
Right?
He could
Keeping
have
it
asked
real.
me to do
Keeping it
anything.
real. All right.
He
Kelly,
paid
your
all the
turn.
bills, and he was that fine. He could ask me
Okay.
to do anything.
Yes, my dogs sleep in the bed, but if I
Your
have
dogs sleep in the
company,
bed with you?
yeah, they do.
Those big ass dogs that you have sleep
Rob,
in the bed with
look,
you?
you gotta understand that big one. We've been together for years. I had him from a little pup. Like there was nobody else there, and then the little one adapted to it. But if I have company, so like when I was living in Georgia and they didn't sleep in the bed with me. They had their own area. I cut that off because the person you don't know if they're a pet person. They're not used to that, but they know they have their beds. But when we get off of this and I go in the room, I fight with them. I'm like, look, no, don't, you can't come in here, blah, blah, blah. The little one hops over the gate. She makes her way to the bed. She don't care. It is what it is. And then the big one busts through the gate. Like they're going to lay there. And I have a new one now that I found in the park. He has his bed. I ain't putting him in there. You stay over there. You're new. I got enough room. That I got enough people here. That's it. And
See how he's not letting the dog be
if I have
equal?
company, they're not going to be in the bed with me. I give that respect. They're not. But by myself, they my homies. We go to sleep. They know bedtime. They know.
Linda is appalled at our behavior.
It is what it is. They know bedtime. Once I give them a look and the TV's off, everybody go to sleep. It's all on the schedule. They're like your children. People, you don't understand. I go through a lot. People are, oh, let me go here. What time? Okay, I gotta walk the dog at this time. Make sure the dog is okay. I'll be there at this time. It's like having a little kid. You got to make sure stuff is going on. You can't even, every time I step out the house, they get depressed. Linda, why you gotta have that face?
If you're in the live chat, let me know if you have animals and you let them sleep in the bed with you. If you're watching the replay and you can relate to Kelly or Abby, please do let me know. Y'all know
But
where
I do have gates. I have gates into the bedroom. It's just they don't listen after I fall asleep. They, hop over or whatever. You know how you see on TikTok that the dog crawl late at night into the bed? That's what happens,
Oh.
So let me know, y'all. Again, I know a lot of you don't agree with me and a lot of you do, but you know how I feel about the cats and the dogs. You know how I feel about shoes in the house. You know how I feel about plastic plates and forks and this whole dog in the bed situation.
Wait. Plastic plates and forks. We're going to have to talk about that another time. Continue. What? Linda.
Oh, you haven't been here, Kelly.
No, Linda. Do we need therapy? What's going on? Do I have to hold your hand? What's going on?
Abby, he said, do you need therapy?
What is going on? We could get a check for that if they don't cut that program, but we could get it. Like, what are we doing?
Listen, I'm from the belief that when you're in the house, it's not, if you're not barbecuing, you're not at a cookout, then you need to be eating on proper plates. You have to have forks and knives. All the
if
things.
You're having a dinner, if you're having a dinner.
No, if every single friggin' day. What are you talking about?
Barbecue?
No, I'm saying barbecue is different. I'm saying
okay, that's what I'm saying. If you're having dinner, that's different. I understand. But if you're having a whole bunch of people in your house for dinner, you get in a plastic fork and plate. I'm not washing those dishes.
That's what I'm saying, Kelly. We'll talk.
But it's a good one. It's the good plastic. It's not the cheap one. It's the good, good clear plastic that you can't tell. It's good. It's the good
We'll
stuff.
talk off online so that you know exactly what I'm talking about. But all of this, the dogs that are outside in the nasty, walking down the sidewalks, and then they jump in your bed.
You gotta wipe their paws. They have a whole cleaner or wipes. You wipe their paw.
No.
We're
moving on. We're just moving on. We're just gonna move on.
She can't take it.
Kelly. No, I cannot. So we brought on Kelly because he's the New York expert. So one of the things that I'm super happy about, Greg gets a call from the New York State, and he hasn't had a job. He's like 36 years old, close to 40, and it's not working, living with his mama. The state calls him and offers him the job. I was so happy for him because I just didn't believe that he would do it. I didn't believe he would work. I didn't believe he would want to work, and so I was really happy. And his mom is the one that tells him. And then he tells Joan, which is the whole thing. Joan's excited. They hug, they kiss. It's a whole moment. And then he's going to treat her to a night in New York City proper. So Times Square. They go for pizza slices, which is Abby and Kelly, something I wanted to talk about. And because, one of the things I know about our community here at the Melanated Way is that oftentimes a lot of our followers haven't had the ability to travel everywhere they want to travel. We know that Abby is an avid traveler. We're lucky for her to even be here today. She might not be here tomorrow because she's off on some journey. We know that Kelly likes the heat and the beaches and all that stuff, so he's there. And you guys know that I travel all over the place all the time. But New York City, pizza, it's known for. So, Kelly, top 3 best pizza places and
All right,
why?
see,
Write this down.
that's the thing.
Wait. And one of the things, if you haven't traveled and had this whole pizza conversation, you guys, there's Chicago pizza, which is like deep dish, New York pizza, where they fold it in half. And if you're gonna go like true Italian style pizza, the sauce in America is different than the sauce in Italy. So just know that. So saying all that, Kelly, New York pizza, top 3 pizza places you've ever had in your life.
That's a hard pick because it depends on what type of pizza you're looking for. Because I can say each borough, each area has a specific type. If you want the typical grandma pop slice famous thing, you'll go to L&B's down in Brooklyn. Or a lot of tourists goes by Dumbo. They go to Saboni's over there, right by the Brooklyn Bridge. That's where everybody goes for that one. If you want good flavor, pepperoni, different type of texture, you could go to the city, which is called Village Pizza. They have the pepperoni with the hot honey on top of it. That's dope. And if you want it, like I said, it's a variety of what you're looking for. It's
Okay,
not
what are your
whenever I'm in the
personal
mood, Linda. That's the thing. Whenever I'm in the mood, I'm like, all right, I want the pepperoni. I'll get the Village one. If I want the regular grandma slice or whatever with the special sauce, I go to L&B's. If I or I'll go downtown Brooklyn. You know, if I just want, I wish they bring back the dollar slice. That was popping with the grease dripping. They don't have that. I mean, you got to
We
go
still
like
have dollar slice.
yeah, you gotta go to like the Tony Pizzas, like authentic Tony Pizzas, the hole in the wall that get your garlic knots and your pizza under one boom boom at a decent price. So if he's taking her to Times Square, he's giving her the uppity style, but I wouldn't go to Times Square itself. I will go to Dumbo or the Village Pizza for the good slices for stuff like that with flavor.
Abby, do you want to weigh in?
No. I think that Kelly's fine. We do still have dollar pizza here, though. So if
Oh,
you're
y'all
out,
still have it down
we
there?
have
Up
dollar
here,
pizza.
they want to bring it back over here, but it's not $1. We had that, but
I don't know how much longer it's going to last because just in the time that I've been in DC, most of the businesses on U Street are like closing. Gentrification is getting really bad, so I don't know how much longer
and
they're going to
that's
last.
that's what happened because we even have one no string pizza that's over here in Flatbush. It was on the news and everything, just due to high rent and gentrification. They were trying to close the pizza shop, and everybody's like, whoa, and this is the hole in the wall spot. You know, it has good pizza. The neighborhood came in and was like, no, we can't lose. This is our spot where we hang out at, and this is where we get our slices. And, everything changes. But the spots I named, they're not going nowhere. They're even branching out. They're making different stores everywhere now. So.
Kelly, have you heard of Rocco's Pizza?
Rocco's?
Yeah.
No. Where's Rocco's at? Let me look that up.
Well, I'd have to look it up, but it's in New York. There's Rocco's on Rock on the Beach by Long Island. Anyways, they're supposed to have a really good pizza.
Long Island got their own joint. They got their own joint, but I don't go to Long Island. See, you got to understand the dynamics and the lifestyle. The 5 boroughs don't go to Long Island, and Long Island don't go to the 5 boroughs.
And we talked about that, but there's in the 5 boroughs apparently. Now I have to
Let me look it up. Rocco's Pizza. Let me see where it's located.
Yeah.
Oh yes, that's on DeKalb. Yes, that one is good too.
That's okay. See, you see how he tried to do me, Abby? You see how
that one is good too.
He said I gotta look it up. It up.
Yeah, because I didn't know the name like that. I just know the structure. Mm-hmm. If you say, the spot on DeKalb, all right, yeah, that's good. I had to look at the address right away. I looked up. I said, oh, DeKalb. Okay. And they got another one over there on DeKalb too. Pizza something. It's good there too.
Yep. See? Okay, so you guys, if you have a favorite pizza spot on the East Coast, let us know. Pizza in the West is it's just not the same. Like you just don't have pizza spots. It's all like chain places, and it's.
It's
That
the
being
culture.
said, pardon, Abby.
No, I didn't say anything.
Oh,
Oh
okay.
no, it was me. I
So
was like, it's the culture because a lot of Italians over here. Just like y'all got the tacos, y'all got the Mexicans and the tacos on lock. When I come out there, I'm gonna go taco out. But
Yeah, I
facts,
mean,
facts.
California did used to be Mexico, so
Abby, with the immigration, let's not do that right at this moment.
I'm just
message.
saying. I'm just saying. The border crossed over the Mexicans. The Mexicans didn't cross over the border. That's all I'm saying.
See,
Abby,
Linda, I'm behaving, Linda.
I
See?
know, but you're not here every week. Abby's like this all the time.
I know.
All the time. I'm always trying to like moderate and keep it pushing. Everyone doesn't agree with me because, but here we are. So Greg and Joan are going to Manhattan. They're celebrating that he finally got a job. And you guys know he's 36, closer to 40, not 20. So he finally got a job, living at his mama's house. You remember he's baking that bread, giving out to the neighbors, not doing anything about anything, but was a handyman. So he finally got a job. And I am for it. I said, okay, Greg's growing on me. And he's only growing on me because he's finally getting a job. And he accepted the job, and I didn't think he was going to get the job. So now he has a job, which I'm proud about, but like, you're 36.
Linda,
Yes.
like I said before, it's the culture. And like it's either with that type of family, the Italians, it's either you're into sanitation or city job or doing something or you're home. Everybody loves Raymond. That's a prime example of that type of lifestyle. That's how it is. Marie is the mom. He's Raymond or the brother that live in the basement. I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah, but as a grown person, no. See, look at Abby's face. No, you can't be almost 40 years old and he never had a job. He didn't go
Because,
to university.
and
His
whose
friends
fault is
went to
that?
university, Kelly. He said, I'm going to
Whose
bake
fault?
bread and have a bakery. And
Whose
from
fault is that?
18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24,
And was
I
he
can go
working in the
on.
bakery? Was he working in the bakery?
No, he was selling
I
bread.
didn't,
He was baking bread at
from his
home and then
house
walking around and selling it to his
Who
neighbors.
taught him how to make the bread?
with no gloves on.
That's how they do.
His mama. His
She
mama.
obviously had.
His mama
She
taught
obviously
him.
had. She had to have a family member had to have a store. That's how it starts. And
No.
that's. I don't know how to explain it, Linda. When you come out here, I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna drag you over here. We don't even have to go to Long Island. We'll go to Howard Beach over here in Queens, and I'll show you how the dynamics are.
Let's go to Long Island, guys. I'm inviting myself on this trip because I did
Yeah.
one Long Island trip and we went to 3 different wineries and a pie stand, and it was one of my
Oh,
favorite days
nah.
ever.
The wineries is lit. I ain't gonna lie. It's lit over there. Ronkonkoma area. Yeah, that's where the
It
winery
was so much.
it's
And
lit.
I bought a whole strawberry rhubarb pie to bring home. It was so good.
That was my first
Okay,
time.
so go ahead, Kelly.
No, I said doing the wine tasting thing. That was my first time experiencing that with a group of ladies, and let's just say when I got back home, I rolled out of the Uber, and that was not a good look. We went to like 5 of them. It was crazy.
So you guys, I'm giving you a ton of time. As you guys know, I work for a production company and I do all the red carpet stuff. One of our artists is performing at the Apollo in October. I'll give you the exact dates, but it's the first week. I think it's October 11th. New York City at the Apollo. I've never been to the Apollo, so I will be there. If you guys want to join us, Kelly already lives in New York. Abby is free and willing to travel. If you guys want to join us, definitely hit me up and we'll put like an itinerary together and we'll figure out, we'll do wine tasting. We'll go to the Apollo. We'll see our artist, Simo, who's amazing. And then we'll make a whole thing of it. And we can meet in real life.
I just put it in my calendar. New York weekend.
Yeah. I think it's the 11th. I'm trying to look, but I think it's the 11th. But I'll let you guys know. And if there's an interest, let us know in the live chat. Let us know in the replay. Reach out to me. DM me. DM me on my personal because the melanated. I barely look at it because there's just too much going on. Okay, you guys, we're almost an hour in. We're only on the third couple. We have a whole thing to go, so I'm gonna power through.
Okay.
Greg's growing on me. He finally got a job. He makes this joke that Joan, is from the actual jungle and he's from the concrete jungle. Thought that was funny because, New York is the concrete jungle. They decided they're going to celebrate that he finally got a job at a grown-ass age of almost 40. So they are going to go to Times Square. They're on Broadway. I don't know if you guys have been to New York City, but it's bright lights, big city, very tourist area. That he's showing her where the ball drop is that you guys see every year on New Year's Eve. They love each other. They're having a great time. He takes her for a slice of pizza. I think we already talked about it. I thought it was super cute for being in New York at the first time. And you fold your pizza. My question to you is, do you fold your pizza or do you eat your pizza just regularly? And Kelly, don't roll your eyes. Abby, I don't know what you do, but I never fold my pizza. I think it's ridiculous. I think it makes the cheese all melt all over the place. I'm not a fan. And I feel like I get. I said, Kelly, hold on. Okay. I said what I do. I don't like the bread, like the bread part being the first thing that you taste. I want to taste the toppings. And yes, as a Canadian where ham and pineapple was originated in Canada, do I love a ham and pineapple? Yes, I do. Am I folding my pizza? No, I'm not. Go ahead, Kelly. Oh, your face is ridiculous right now. You're ridiculous.
I'm not saying nothing. I'll just book our therapy session. That's all.
Abby?
Yeah, I'll fold mine because I want my sauce to spread over the crust. So I fold it and then eat it so that I can have an even distribution in my mouth.
Kelly, your face is looking ridiculous. So go ahead and tell us what you.
No, I'm
just Becca, ham and pineapple. Go ahead, friend. I got you.
Oh my Lord. If it's just plain cheese, Kelly. I'm folding it. If it's plain cheese, I'm folding it. If it has pepperoni and toppings, I'm keeping it regular because you want to balance it out. You don't want stuff falling off. You got to eat it. Boom. That's the rules.
But isn't that what I just said? Isn't that what I just said?
I said it's just plain cheese, you fold it. You got to fold it plain. Boom. You eat it regular. That's the old school way. But if it's full of toppings, when you want anything like pepperonis, chicken, bacon, all that stuff, you keep it regular and you eat it.
Y'all, do you see Kelly's face? He's literally bothered.
No,
New Yorkers are. They're so extra with all the craziness. But moving on, I thought it was Linda. Your photo. Oh, okay. So moving on from Times Square, I thought it was a cute for Greg and Joan to have that first time, the folded pizza, all the things, and then the alone time in the hotel. I thought that it was very responsible of Greg, who is now a worker, to buy the rose petals, the champagne, all the things, to spend a little bit of money to make this a very special experience for someone who's going to New York for the first time. And they have a moment. He's like, I love you so much, and this is what I'm doing for you, and yada, yada, yada. What I love about Greg and Joan is even despite all the things I've said about him, they have great communication. And so when she's not happy with something, she tells him directly. And I think that that's important, you guys, in a relationship, to tell your partner how you're feeling in a situation. And the other thing that she says she's appreciative of is that for the last 4 years, she's grateful that every year he's come to Uganda to continue to have their relationship to grow. And she feels like, he's done a lot because of it. Do you two have any thoughts about that?
Yeah, and unlike Sarper, he's being made to feel bad that he's experiencing and expressing depression, and there's somebody else on the show who's being made to feel bad because of the culture shock that he's going through. Joan is actually able to fully discuss what her issues and concerns are. So I agree they do have very good communication. It still doesn't quite sit right with me that he doesn't have any real employment history. I'm just
Yeah.
saying, like, it might work out for her, and hopefully it does work out for her, but I would be afraid to do that. And like I said last time, definitely not with a white man. You're white. What are you doing being broke?
Oh Lord, here we go.
Where
Oh
were
Lord.
your
Oh
ancestors
Lord.
when all the
Abby,
other
you're
white
supposed
people
to
were
be on.
stealing things?
Abby, we have a guest. You're supposed to be on your best behavior right now.
Yeah, I love it. I love it.
Kelly's not ready.
I love it. But look, like you said, whatever floats your boat for people. If she likes it, I see a lot of people on social media saying she kind of downgraded because she had a lot of stuff going on where she was at. Then she came over here and he don't, and he's not really doing anything. But I mean, he's trying and he's going out of his way to, make her comfortable, stepping out of his comfort zone and stepping up. So it's everybody's relationship is different. Whatever you like, it is what it is. You happy, I'm happy, and that's it.
That's true. Because Joan could get on here right now and be like, "That's why you're single," and I couldn't be like, "Okay." I'm not
That's
with a
how I
broke white
feel.
man though.
Yeah, I'm not dating him, so it is what it is.
Oh Lord. Oh Lord. We're moving on. Juan and Jessica, because we're still, you guys, we still have a whole episode to go. We're not even done this episode. Juan and Jessica,
Right.
Winter Wonderland wedding. They're gonna do a fire pit, cocktail hour. They're gonna be married outside with blankets, clear umbrellas if it snows. I want to tell you guys something from a Canadian perspective. Cold weddings are something. They're terrible. A friend of mine got married in Regina. I don't know if you guys know where that is.
What?
Uh,
Where?
Regina,
Okay.
Saskatchewan. It's
Okay.
super cold, like cold. And my friend was marrying an RCMP, so our police force. So it was it was like, like you guys do. It was everyone was in RCMP gear,
Mhm.
red, the yellow, the stripes, the horses, the swords. It was like a whole thing because he was graduating from training at RCMP. It was in the middle of the winter. She decided that we were going to have these champagne colored satin dresses.
Mm.
And when I tell you that
Cold.
it was the first time that I saw plugged in cars that weren't electric. They're regular cars, but because it gets so cold there, you have to plug in your car so that when it over freezes, it doesn't over freeze. Why does your face look like that, Abby?
I don't think I would enjoy that at all.
I did it. So I walked out of the airport and walked back in because it was so cold. And then 2 days later, when I have this like champagne dress, I'll never forget. It was a long dress. It had like this round collar, had flowers on it. Beautiful dress. Because sometimes, women that are getting married, their bridesmaids' dresses are not that beautiful. But she really was about that. But they were satin. So we had to have these flannels over us, the flannel blankets to walk down. And when I say it just was not a great experience, it was just not great. Y'all that want to have these winter wonderland weddings, I really need you to think about your guests. Because a stupid clear umbrella while it's snowing and you're sitting outside is really not going to do anything for your guests.
I'm
Unless
not
you're
gonna be
giving
outside.
Right, unless you're giving them shots of tequila all day long, and then they're going to be drunk and unruly.
Mm-mm.
But being outside in the snow, -60, like the wedding planner said, is outrageous.
No. She should have had it like in a clear bubble, just to get that fact.
Heated, clear
Heated.
bubble that's inside.
Yeah. Well,
That's
a
insane.
bubble just to get the outside effect. But no,
That's
I'm not.
it.
I'm not gonna be outside. No.
So Juan wants to incorporate some of his Colombian culture, which I was like, why is Jessica mad that she's been planning this wedding for 2 years and she didn't think of incorporating that? Like, you all didn't have a conversation. Like, I'm from Canada, Abby, DC, Kelly, New York. I listen, you all know that I'm Guinean. I'm going to incorporate some Guinean culture into my wedding. I'm going to want that. Why is that not a conversation that you all had? You didn't have a conversation like, hey, I think that, hey, this is our wedding. It's going to be a winter wonderland. What are you thinking that we need to incorporate that will make you feel comfortable? How's that not a conversation that you have to someone that you're going to marry for the rest of your life?
I'm not going to put that on Jessica. I'm going to put that on Juan. Because if you've heard her talk about the wedding plans, which I'm sure she has, then why didn't you say, hey, can we also do this? Hey, can we also do that? To incorporate whatever you want from Colombia. It can't be one person's job to do all of the thinking about what is going to be incorporated into the wedding. So I'm going to put that on him. If he wanted to have some certain clothing, if he wanted to have certain music, he should have spoke about that a year ago. You know what? But from last episode, I'm just mad at Juan right now. So maybe that's carrying over to now.
It is, because I feel what you're saying is a very American-centric mentality. Like, oh, he didn't say it, so I didn't think of it, so I'm putting it on him. That's ridiculous.
No, he has a baby and 3 kids.
Still be considerate.
What are you talking about? You know you're marrying a foreigner. You have 90 days to get married, and you're not thinking of his culture? Stop it.
Yeah, you have to include.
She's by herself with the baby and the other kids.
Okay, but she didn't have a baby when she met him 2 years ago, Abby.
But why can't we let him be responsible for the, you know what? Okay.
No.
Thank you, Kelly. Thank you.
No.
Thank you. Because most people agree with her because she's an attorney. So most people think I'm crazy. So I appreciate you being here. She sounds ridiculous. What are you talking about, Abby? What are you talking about?
Because I'm just mad at Juan. I admitted it. Gosh, everybody get off my back.
Yeah.
Kelly, Jocelyn says, have you been to any? I'm not sure what she's talking about.
I think she's talking about
if you've been with a throuple with 2 men?
Yeah, that's what she's asking about because
no.
She started over from the beginning. I could tell from her comments. So she wants to know if you've been to any swinger parties. That's where she's at in the
swinger parties.
Lord.
Mm-hmm.
Oh Lord.
Thruple,
she said maybe a throuple with 2 men. Jocelyn, you're staying
Jocelyn been wild.
Right now. Jocelyn's been wild. Oh Lord, it threw me off my whole situation.
See, I'm behaving, Linda. I ain't saying nothing. I'm behaving.
I know you are, Kelly. Thank you. Good for you.
That little flutter.
Juan got a call from the cruise ship. He's not sure if he wants to tell Jessica about it. Here's the thing. If you guys are getting married, I don't understand this whole 90-day process. You should already be able and comfortable to talk to your future fiance, but the 90 days should not be where you're like, shouldn't I? It's ridiculous. And as far as I'm concerned, Juan goes to the gym. They have 48 days to get married. He meets with Herbie, who is Megan, who I told you is single white female from last episode. Herbie is Megan's husband. And you probably don't know that because, Megan's in love with Jessica, period, full stop. The way she's like so into that relationship and she's crying over the cheating, it's too much. If we want to talk about bisexuality, we shouldn't be talking about Stevie. We really should be talking about Megan, as far as I'm concerned. Anyways, they're at the gym. Juan's like, I want to go back to the ship. Herbie's like, there's a lot of jobs here in agriculture and ranching and farming. I need you to think about it because I don't think Jessica is going to want you to go back on the ship. She's going to want you to do these things. And Juan's like, but I love cruise life, which
that's
he wants to go back.
Comfortable with.
That's right. And you guys, I gotta tell you, like, I know tip culture is in the media right now, but if you've ever been on a cruise,
I love
those
it.
bartenders, those servers, you've been to Vegas, they make a shitload of money, and that's why they do it. Period. So he wants to go back, and he feels like being a stay-at-home dad, taking care of his own child, is not a job, and he's not for it. What do you guys think of that?
You know it
Abby?
irritates me. You know it irritates me. He's like, I'm not doing anything with my life. I'm not doing anything productive because he doesn't think that what women typically do at home is valuable or useful. So he feels useless being the one to take care of his own child. He feels helpless because he won't figure out how to hold him properly, how to feed him properly, how to make macaroni and cheese properly. He won't spend time doing those things and feels useless because that's women's work. That's beneath him.
Facts. We're going to move on to Mark and Mina.
Oh, I
And
did want to say something immigration related about Juan, though.
okay.
Juan thinks that when he gets this work permit, then he's going to be able to go work on the ship, and that is incorrect. In order to leave the United States, you need a travel permit when you don't have your green card. So, him getting his work permit alone is not enough. He would need to also apply for a travel permit. Also, he said the contract was 8 months. You cannot leave for 8 months while your application is pending.
You cannot leave, period, while your application is pending.
Unless you have a
Period.
travel permit. But when you have your travel permit, I would say the most you want to use that is 2 weeks.
There you go, you guys. You heard it from an immigration attorney. Know what you know, what you know. Moving on to Mark and Mina. 40 days to get married. Maria's alone for the first time for 5 days in the US. Mark took a job doing the pollinating stuff. One of the things that I wanted to ask you guys about is if you moved into your significant other's house, Kelly, and they had pictures of their ex partner on the
No.
wall because, they've been, oh, Lord, I didn't even finish my statement.
Kelly said, nah,
They
he's not letting that,
have,
not letting that fly.
No.
they have a history before you. So that maybe they've been married, they have kids, they have pictures of themselves with their kids on the walls.
No.
Would it be time? Oh, I haven't finished.
Okay.
Would it be time by the time you moved in for them to take those pictures down? Go ahead, Kelly.
I have a
Yeah.
question first, Kelly,
Go ahead.
because I couldn't remember. Is she still living? Is she still with us?
The wife? The
Yes.
ex-wife?
Yes, the
I don't
ex-wife.
know. We didn't hear anything about it.
Okay. Because I
We
feel
don't know.
differently if she is deceased as opposed to if she's still living. Okay, go ahead, Kelly.
I don't.
No.
I don't. Take that shit down. You're done. It's over.
See, and
It's
you
been
talking about
2
me.
months.
I didn't even get that. That's what I'm saying. Like, no, I don't want to see that. If only pictures that should be up, it should be you and the child, not the significant other. You got the separate pictures. Take new ones. All right.
That part. Put that shit in an album. You guys, when I didn't remember what the album thing was from the friggin' 1970s and you guys came for me because I didn't know what that shit was called, put all those pictures in an album that you told me about and call it a day. What they're not about to do is be on the wall so that I'm walking back and forth and the ghost of your ex is on the
Yeah, I don't
walls.
want to see that. No.
Nothing. Yeah,
See,
see?
I would be okay if the person is now deceased and you have family photos up. If it's couples photos, I think those can come down. But if it's photos of you and the kids and I want the kids to feel welcome coming into the
They can
house.
have it in their room.
Right, and put it in an album.
See, that
Put them
doesn't
in.
bother me. We can add our pictures up there, but
No.
having pictures of the
It would
deceased
look
spouse
weird.
doesn't
And then you
bother
have
me.
your friends over and then they looking around. You know, people knows it because I'm one of them and I'm gonna look at pictures and I'm like, okay.
I'm gonna be like, yeah, there she is. She's dead. She can't compete with me. She's dead.
No, Abby, that's not how it works.
Ask the chat. All right.
No.
Okay,
You could
everybody watching
Mhm.
and everybody in the replay. I specifically want to talk about deceased exes. the ex-partner or ex-spouse is deceased, can they still have family photos up in the house? We're right
And
now, we're two against
let me
their
one.
just
room.
piggyback. Let me piggyback on what Abby's saying, you guys. So if you're watching the replay, Abby is asking if you walk into the house and there's like a full-on foyer and the deceased spouse is all the way in the pictures framed down the aisle. Is that cool with you if you just add a few photos of you and your partner now because you know that person is deceased? Are you cool with that? That's what she's asking.
Mhm.
I say hell no. Get an
No.
album, period. And your children, if you have children with that person that is now deceased, can look at the album or they can have pictures in their bedroom. That's what
Okay.
I'm saying. But the first thing that greets people is the deceased spouse.
Yeah, no,
Stop
that's
it.
gonna be very awkward to keep explaining. I'm not doing that, especially if I'm living there. No,
Thank you,
you can have
Kelly.
your picture, but have your little area where you designate a little shrine in your little corner in your bedroom, not all over the house. No, it's not happening.
Thank you.
No.
Let us know what you think in the replay. Abby and I are having a full on conversation with it. Kelly is weighed in. What do you guys think? So one of the things that I cracked up about was so Mina's hardcore, right? So first I want to say this about Mina. Mina, girl, I love you. I think you're beautiful. One of the things I love about you is that she's real, right? You guys like she will go on international TV with no makeup on, having a breakup because you know, I don't know if you guys see it, but I have like this huge pimple that I've been freaking out about for the last week.
I
She'll go
can't
on.
see you. I haven't been able to see you for like 15 minutes.
Yeah, you're frozen.
Oh, really? Is everyone not seeing me? What should I do? I know you sent me that text, but I thought it was fixed. Anyways, I have a pimple right here. It's huge. It's like one of those like ooh, ooh, ooh. Long story short, this woman comes on with no makeup, no primer, no eyebrows, no like mascara. And I love that about her because that's real, right?
Yeah.
And the thing that I thought was super funny is that she's seeing these pictures on the wall of Mark's ex. She's going through pictures and then he sees the picture of Kamala Harris and she's like, who is this
Who
woman
is
with
this
Mark?
woman?
Maria, her daughter. Do you know who this woman is? Died of
That is the
laughter.
funniest thing. So they show a picture of Mark with Reagan, and then they show a picture of him with Kamala Harris, and she's like, "Who is this woman?" I'm gonna ask him who this woman is later. It's really, really funny. It reminds me of when Kiki Palmer had the picture of Joe Biden, and she was like, "Sorry to this man, I do not
Yeah,
know
I
who
don't
this
know.
man is."
Oh man.
So good. So good. So she's home by herself, doesn't have a lot to do. Pat, her neighbor, invites her to crochet, which is funny because you guys, I love crocheting. Just I know I don't tell you guys a lot about myself, but knitting, crocheting is something I'm totally into. And oh, it's too far away. I have the little boo-boos. Do you know what the little boo-boos are, Kelly?
No.
Oh, do you know, Abby?
They're not shoes, Louboutins, or however you
No.
say it.
No, they're like these little dolls. They're too far. I can't go to them. But I crocheted a little like sweater for my little boo boo, and if you know what it is, then you'll know that
Is
it's
that
like
the
a
thing that old school thing with the dolls that used to be in the bathroom?
The
no.
little doilies that go on the dolls.
Oh my god, you two are killing me. No.
You talking about the thing that was at my grandma's house?
Like
Oh
that's the only thing I
Lord.
can think of with little dolls.
Oh Lord. It's not important. Anyways, crocheting sounds fun to me. So she's walking over there because, you know, again, the immigration part of it, you guys. Stop, Linda. I love that you love Labubu's. Me too, Becca. These fools, Kelly and Abby, don't know what I'm talking about. I feel
I'm about to look it
All
up.
crazy.
right, let me look this up because
How do you guys not know what Labubus are? Okay, okay, look.
where am I gonna be chilling with little boobs?
Is this Canadian?
It's like is it? It's like the world besides America, I guess. I don't know. I see them
I've
and I
never
want to
seen
show
this
you.
before in my life.
You've never seen a labubu.
No. If it's this little creature that came up,
It is. It's like a
What's
little
like
I've
a
bear.
never
toy
seen this
puppy?
before in my
Nah, I've
life.
never seen it. Oh wow, this is scary.
Oh Lord. Oh Lord. Okay. Let's move on. Because that was not the point. I have a little pink crocheted sweater for my labubu. That's all I'm saying. So she goes over to Pat's house. She gets lost, and she calls Mark. And it was so funny because when she was like, she's like, "Oh mon Dieu, is it a gauche, a droite, which is left or right?" And then I wanted to teach you guys something. So Kelly, are you paying attention? And Abby, I'm going to teach you guys something that we learned in like second grade. And
Okay.
you'll always remember it. So this is like the little bit of French that you'll always remember. Ready? Go like this. Make a fist.
I can't see, but I'll make
I'm
a
just
fist.
guessing about what you're doing.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. You guys still can't see me?
No, you're frozen.
Oh, how do I? Okay.
Yeah, she'll probably have to leave and come back. She's gonna try and show us how to make an L, I think.
Can you see me now?
No.
No.
Oh, that's terrible. Okay, so make a fist.
You're a black screen now. Okay.
Yeah, you're black screen.
That's terrible. Let's try one more time.
I think I've done this before. There's one hand that will make an L. And so you always know that this is your left.
Oh, now I'm a black screen for myself. Okay, can you see me now?
No.
Okay, we don't have time. Okay, make a fist. Make a fist, and then you're gonna say "sir," and you're gonna put your flat hand on top of your fist.
Sir.
Yeah, sir. Which means on top of
flat or covering it. Like
you got it. You
which
got
way?
it. Perfect.
What?
No, you got it. That's perfect. What you're doing is perfect. So, sir, Sue, and you're gonna put your hand on the bottom of your fist. But like clap it on the bottom. Clap it like flat hand, clap it, open hand. Yes, Abby, like that. You guys are terrible. I'm trying to teach you Sir, Sue, Don, avant derrière, avant derrière, avant derrière. Sir, Sue, Don, avant derrière, côté du, which means top, bottom, belly, front, back, bottom, aside. And so you guys would learn some French today, but y'all are doing anything. And if you can't see me, oh well, I'll have to teach you next time.
I did know sir because it's the store Sur La Table.
Yes, sir. Sue is the bottom.
Sue?
Yep. Bottom. But okay.
What am I doing?
Okay, I'm gonna Abby. You guys are just outrageous right now. It's like super outrageous to me.
I'm behaving.
Abby, I'm calling you right now.
Oh. Okay, she's gonna show me how to do it on FaceTime, I think.
Yes.
Okay.
Sir. Sue. Yeah. Don, which means in, with the finger in. Avant, which is in front. Derrière, which is in back. Yes. Oh, wow. Then you say sir again on top.
You lost me.
Sue. Don, finger in. Avant derrière, front back. Avant, which is by the side. But with your flat hand. Flat hand, Abby? Flat hand. Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
Sur-sous, avant derrière, sur-sous, avant derrière, à côté de.
Abby's holding for dear life right now.
Let me show you how much I got. Sir, Sue, Don, avant derrière, Sir, Sue, Don, avant derrière.
À côté de.
À côté de.
That's it. You know what, Kelly? You know what? Stop. You know what? Nope.
I tried.
Nope.
So what? I don't know.
Okay. You know what, you guys? We've turned left so quickly.
I tried.
So quickly. You did, and I appreciate that you tried. So they are crocheting and they're with Dottie or Dot Martini and Tara, and they call it a stitch and bitch. And basically, it's able for them that are all rich women that are married to pilots that need an outlet to do some complaining and be like, hey, this is some rich white people problems. Our husbands are pilots, and we want to talk about how they're always on the road and they're always piloting and they're always type A personalities. So let's drink and complain about our rich husbands in our rich mansions. Because, I mean, what else are we going to do?
I feel a little sarcasm.
I mean, that's literally what she said. She said, our pilot husbands are type A personalities. Meanwhile, like, what's your problem exactly? Your husband went away to work for 5 days, and so you don't have anything to do, so you want to crochet and have some drinks and complain. And it's really important for you to be able to do that.
She want a pool boy.
Look at Kelly. Kelly just like got hot and was like, nah.
She want a pool boy. She want a little side thing.
Oh my God, I could totally see you having a pool company. That would be hilarious. I do. This is my note. It has nothing to do with anything, but I really do. Even though I love Mina for her open and available personality, I do need her to have better wigs because this synthetic business is not the business, and I'm tired of seeing it. That's it. That's my comment. So she's talking about not getting. What's that?
You know what they say? Hard wig, soft life.
Hot wig, soft life?
Hard wig, soft life. I even know that one.
I never heard of it before. What does that mean?
If you have we gotta get you on TikTok, girl.
There is a phenomenon.
What does that mean?
There is a phenomenon.
So if you have a terrible wig, you're gonna have a soft life?
There is a phenomenon among Black women who marry extremely wealthy white men that they tend to have bad wigs. And the theory is that it's because the white men don't know that those are bad wigs.
Oh.
So they can get away with wearing a hard wig a little bit more in that strata as opposed to being in our strata.
They don't have the typical Peruvian Ecuadorian virgin hair wigs that looks flowing. It's bad. But they live in that life.
Mm-hmm. Start watching them on TikTok.
Yeah,
the ones that you'll see. There's a synthetic difference.
I'm gonna start sending you stuff, Linda.
You know, I said this to Abby before. Americans are crazy. Y'all are just so wild. There's so many rules that I just don't understand. Like that.
No, it's not a rule. It's just a thing
something
that
we came up with.
Happens to describe. We only came up with the phrasing to describe it. It was already happening.
Mm-hmm. Look, we know how to take over.
Oh, well, that sounds outrageous to me. And it looks ugly. Anyways, Mina is talking about not getting along with the family, the prenup, and they basically say to her, you need to protect yourself and your kids. And she wants to make sure that her son is taken care of, wants to make sure that Mark adopts her son so that in case they get divorced, they would all be taken care of. I'm going to power through Stephen Madi because, I mean, it's trash. 12 days to get married.
Very quickly about adoption, though. Mm-hmm. I think that when you are considering adoption, you have to understand that the person adopted is going to be issued a new birth certificate. and that birth certificate is going to cut off their relationship with the biological parent.
Oh,
So,
forever?
yes, any legal ties they had to that biological parent are severed in the adoption. So, I just want to make sure people are aware of the gravity of what adoption means.
Forever?
Yes, forever. So if my child was adopted by somebody else and then I passed away, my wealth doesn't go to that surviving child because we no longer have a legal relationship.
Hmm.
So it severs that legal relationship with that child. They no longer use that old birth certificate when they apply for jobs, apply for a passport, anything else. They only use the newly issued passport under the adoption
But
moving
what
forward.
if the other parent did not want that child to be adopted? Then what?
They could contest it and be heard in court as to why, because their parental rights have to be terminated before the adoption can occur.
Oh, okay, got it.
I don't think everybody knows that. So I'm anti-adoption in most cases, and I don't think people realize that when you come across somebody who's anti-adoption. I don't think they always know the gravity of it.
Why are you doing that, Kelly? What is that?
Oh no, I'm just stretching my neck. I'm listening to everything. That's wild.
Oh. Stevie and Maddie. Okay, so Maddie's upset that she painted her friend Claire nude. He feels betrayed, thinks she's bisexual. And then he talks about like whether he or not he feels like she's trapping him or setting him up. And I just think it's a stupid thing to say. And why I think it's stupid is because like what would she have to gain? What is he actually bringing to the table that quote unquote he got trapped to? He can't work. He doesn't have his work permit. He doesn't have his green card yet. She has to support him. So like what are you trapped about? Literally my note says what benefit does she get? Abby?
She gets the benefit of having her spicy white partner in her small town to distinguish her from
Oh
every
no,
other white person.
Damn, Abby,
I
you
was
went
not
hard.
ready. I was not ready. I was not ready, Abby.
Whoa.
I was looking for my shoe. I was not ready.
She does.
Okay,
She
what?
gets to put him
You
up in
went
her
hard.
glass menagerie.
You went hard on that one.
She got her spicy young man. See how territorial she was in the gym a couple episodes ago? Stevie's not fooling
Mhm.
me.
Oh. Y'all, I was not ready. I'm gonna have to circle back on that because she's not wrong.
Mm.
Um, she picks him up. He's at the house, right? Because you guys know when an immigrant comes to America, they can't work. They can't work until they get their green card. So it's. I'm trying to tell you guys, it's very difficult. You're there, you're not yourself. Just like how Sarper is like, I'm depressed. Yeah, because you're at the house all day. You can't drive. You can't make your own money. You're relying on your partner. It's a lot. And
Hmm.
so he's at the house watching like football or something. Stevie comes, says, hey, I have smoothies. Let's go to talk. And they go to like some type of park or whatever, and Maddie basically asks the same question he's been asking about whether or not she's been bisexual or is interested in women, and she doesn't answer and says, if I say no, will you leave me alone about this? Because it really doesn't matter. And I find it interesting, and I've told you guys all season that the fact that she doesn't have a definitive answer tells me a lot about who she is, and I think that
I
she
was going to
may
say
or may
that
not.
she didn't. A person that's not into an answer right away, like now, off of the rip, and she didn't answer
Well,
right away.
the question she asked, I already thought that she might be somewhere on the spectrum, maybe not completely bisexual, but having some curiosity or something. But she specifically said, I'm into you right now. Does it like, why doesn't it matter enough that I'm into you? If I tell you I'm into you, why isn't that enough? And at that point, I was like,
Mm.
I think this girl is dealing with some repression from the small town she lives in, from the father that we've seen her you know, we know that he's got all the isms. Um, that maybe she would like to explore something and she hasn't freed herself to do that. So maybe that's why
100%.
she's having a hard time.
100%, because when she said, I understand that you're enough, don't you understand that you're enough? You can take it or leave it. I was like, that is such a weird answer. If someone asked me
Right.
if I was bisexual, I would definitively say no. And end of conversation. But the
Yeah.
way
Right.
she's answering and the way she's saying, like, quote, you're enough right now,
Right.
I
But at
can
the
see
same
why.
time, I'm annoyed by Marty asking the question because he's like, in my culture, it is not okay to be bisexual. Since you arrived in the United States, you having sex, you drinking alcohol, you eating pork. Boy, shut up about your culture.
Facts. Pick and choose,
I was
Maddie.
gonna
Pick
say
and
that
choose.
he's using it to his advantage.
People
100%.
always want to use their culture to oppress other people. How about you follow the rules first? Follow the rules of your own culture and religion first. You first.
Facts. Moving on to Sean and Aaliyah. I'm gonna fly through this because we literally have not even gone to episode 13 yet. Uh, they have a less than a month to get married, and one of the things that I think is crazy, because 90 Day Fiance is supposed to be about planning your wedding in those 90 days. I don't understand how these couples are always like, oh, let's see what a relationship looks like now that I'm in America. But that's what they're doing, and they feel like they don't have enough time. Aaliyah feels excited and anxious because not only are they planning their wedding, but she wants to explore her transitioning process. And she knows that that is affecting the intimacy and her relationship with Sean. She has some insecurities about herself and her body, because she has, I mean, I don't know. And Abby, correct me if I'm wrong, but she has, once she has decided, once she realized that she is transgender, she wants to explore what that means for her. Is that correct in
Yeah,
saying?
so she wants some body enhancements that she feels would make her more feminine.
Mm-hmm.
She's not comfortable with what she perceives as the more masculine parts of her, whereas Sean seems to be more attracted to the more masculine parts. And so that's where they're having this conflict. This is one of
Right.
those situations where I really wish there were other options for immigration besides marriage, because they don't need to get married. I know that we've already seen how it ends up, but I don't think they need to get married.
100%, because she feels incomplete. And because she doesn't feel incomplete, she's not having the best intimate relationship with Sean, which you guys have talked about. Because if Sean was like, we already know that Sean was married, he did like the whole heterosexual thing, had kids, realized that he's a gay man, met another gay man, and then the gay man was like, no, I'm gonna be transgender. And again, you guys, apologize if I'm not saying the right terms. I don't mean anything by it, but having to maneuver through that and knowing that you love that person, like Sean said, his love is transcending sexuality and gender. That's a lot to deal with, and then throw on 90 days that you have to get married. That's a lot.
Yeah,
So, like Abby said, if there was another category that they could explore, so that they're not rushing into something that maybe is not down their future, then I wish that was the case, because
yeah,
Aaliyah is only 25. She's still figuring
right.
out who she is, right? You know how I say Sean is 36, closer to 40 than it is 20? Aaliyah is closer to 20 than she is to 40. She has a lot of life and growth and
Hmm.
self exploration to go through.
Hmm.
And Sean's 62. He's been there, done that. He's grown kids. I don't know.
Right.
I
Sean could have, we didn't talk about this, but Sean could have pursued people in his same age range, that have been out for as long as he has and a lot of these issues would have been avoided. But he wanted to traipse down to Brazil and get some young hot thing.
I mean, Brazil is known for that, right? We know
I was gonna
that
say, don't they
America.
normally do that? Like,
So he went to Brazil in search of his hot thing, and these are the kind of conflicts you have when someone hasn't established their life for as long as you have.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
So
yeah. I'm not saying that Sean is a S tourist, but Brazil's known for that, right? Americans go down
I
there
don't.
and
I mean, I'll say he is. If you don't want to say he is, I'll say he is.
okay.
I think that any older gentlemen who are traveling to Thailand, the Philippines, Brazil, the Dominican Republic repeatedly,
what you saying?
Kelly, have something to say? Because when you picked on your ear, what are your thoughts?
No, she's saying older men traveling to these locations repeatedly. What are you saying?
you might be a S tourist.
Damn. So you're trying to say the
Repeatedly,
passport bros type of thing? That's what you're saying?
some of the passport bros are S tourists. Some of them are just passport bros. Some of them ain't got it like that. Some of them ain't got it like that to really be, you know.
You don't agree, Kelly?
To a certain extent. Look, when it comes to the men and female, if they put that on a man, I'm gonna say the same thing for females because females do it too. When they always go to
Oh,
Jamaica,
absolutely. I was about to say that. If you're repeatedly going to Jamaica, what's the girl name? Ariana?
Colombia, Jamaica, Dominican Republic, those are the spots that they go to all the time.
But I know they specifically pay for it in Jamaica.
You know, when you want to get that,
So
massage and that mud rub massage on that
same
raft.
thing. We've had on the show, we've had Ariana, we had the older white lady that had the two men in Jamaica because she was having a relationship with. I would say the same thing about them. A big age disparity, and you know that you can find somebody who looks good, needs some money, and will do your bidding.
Why they
They
can't do
take
that
advantage
here?
of it too.
Why they gotta go? Well, yeah,
They
here
want the
everybody gets a part time.
because a part of it is not just paying for the act. A part of it is also that power dynamic. That's a part of what they want. They want to have that dominion over you. When guys try to do it here, it doesn't come off the same way because most of us can take care of ourselves. I mean, you can find some really poor people here, but for the most part, most of us can take care of ourselves. You know, they've tried it before, but it doesn't have the same ring. Somebody sitting down with me saying, I'm going to pay your rent for 1 month if you do an XYZ does not have the same power over me as it would for someone. I'm going to give you $3,000.
I mean, I hear you. I hear you.
So
And
that's
you
why
and,
they
and,
do
and,
it.
and it's all on the culture too, because they're different. You're right. They can't have the same power over here. Then I got you.
They get to flex over there. What's your boy name? Your boy Robert and Annie? He went down to the
Oh,
Dominican Republic, flashing money all over the place, then came
he's
here and
funny
brought her
too,
to the
man.
Goodwill.
He's funny when he saw my segment. He was like, "Yo, just go to Colombia and go get your yeah."
He
Rob,
is funny, but
he's funny.
he had that mentality in
Hmm.
the beginning as well.
Yeah, he was like, "You be all right, King. Don't sweat it. Just go to Colombia." I said, "I know. I've been to Cartagena."
Yeah.
Uh,
Linda, did we lose you again?
yeah, Linda
No,
had to
I'm
take a
here. I'm just letting
She
you guys go
crocheting over
wild.
there. She over there crocheting on her
Still
dog.
crocheting. All right, Linda, we'll let you power through. Sorry, we keep on going.
Aaliyah wants an opinion of a professional.
Mm-hmm.
So she made an appointment with the doctor, and
Oh, who's this
she
again?
is
I lost track.
Aaliyah.
Who's this?
Aaliyah.
Aaliyah. All right.
Aaliyah. So the doctor's like, would your marriage survive a full transition? And neither Sean or her knows if that's going to be the case. So they go to a doctor who specializes in transgender procedures.
It's a lot.
And one of the things that she wants to know is, what does that transition process looks like? The doctor wants to know if they've talked about it as a couple. And Aaliyah's like, the more I think about it and research it, is the more I move closer to who Aaliyah really is. She wants to get implants, and then she wants to get like her head, like the bone in her, I guess her forehead done, and gender reassignment. And so they have that full conversation. And Claude is having some issues because, he thinks that, or feels like he fell for a man, and that man is now being erased. What are your thoughts?
I think that Sean has valid feelings. He describes himself as a gay man. They took this journey a little bit together, and then Aaliyah took it further because, we remember that they were on a trip together, and Sean is the one who suggested to Aaliyah to dress up like a woman for some parade that they were doing. And then after that, Aaliyah was like, oh, that felt good. I want to do that forever.
Yeah.
So now Aaliyah is taking it a little bit further than Sean ever anticipated it was going to go. And it's okay for him to say, I'm not sure if I'm okay with how this is going. It's fine for him to say that, but it's also fine for Aaliyah to continue on this transition if that's what she wants to do. So at some point, they might just have to say, this relationship is not working for us. You don't have to keep forcing a round, what is it? Round peg in a square hole, square peg in a round hole, whatever it is.
Yeah, that's what I said at the beginning. I said it's a lot. This is a lot right now. It's woman is just one step and then another step and another step. It's like the goalpost is being pushed over.
Right. And then from Aaliyah's perspective, it's probably difficult, maybe not impossible, but difficult to fund these procedures that she wants absent Sean.
Mm-hmm.
So I know she had a career back home as a nurse, but she was still living in the favela.
Did we lose Linda again?
Yeah, we did. Who's the next couple? We'll just because I know she wants to kind of power through. Okay, I have we just did Aaliyah. So at this point, we would go back to Sarper and Shekinah. This is the next episode. Now they're going to Sarper's comedy show. So they have some friends show up to support Sarper's comedy show. And Dan, you're back with video.
There you go. Welcome back.
Thanks.
So I was talking about Sarper and Shekinah showing up to the comedy show.
Okay.
And the friends who came to support. I think that was the next thing, right?
We're gonna do Maudie and Stevie real quick. So we're on episode 13, Loved by Any Other Name. Maudie and Stevie have 3 days to get married. Maudie kind of doesn't care about the wedding dress. He's very stuck in his ways. He's like, the wedding really is about the woman. It's not about the man. She comes out in the first dress, and he literally, you guys, says, it makes you look old. I was like, oh, this isn't it. And he's like,
wrong.
yeah, it's terrible. He's like, no. And then, so we don't see the second dress, but I know you guys are further along than we are. She picks a dress and it's beautiful. She looks beautiful. But I do think that he was wrong for staying and doing all that. They're going to New Orleans for a joint bachelor party. What are your guys' thoughts on joint bachelor parties? Kelly, I'll go with you first.
It depends on the couple. I wouldn't do it.
Abby?
It's not my cup of tea, but it depends on the couple. There's certain couples that can't separate from each other, but I wouldn't do that because I'm with my boys and we're going to do crazy stuff. I don't want nothing lingering to give you any issues, even if you're secure or not. I don't want that. I don't want the unnecessary headache.
Abby?
You do your thing.
Yeah. I'm not interested in a joint bachelor party. Might as well have a joint Facebook account.
Same. I feel like if you have to do joint, you all need to think about whether you should get married or not, because it clearly shows that there's some type of insecurity there that you're not 100% comfortable with. Like, Go do you. We'll go do us on a separate and different occasion.
Yeah.
It doesn't need to be joined. I'm not into it at all. So Marty calls New Orleans, quote unquote, Sin City. And they get there. And just FYI, I don't know if you remember this, Abby, but the front desk guy. Oh, Hottie
Yeah, he was cute.
Oh my God. I was like, can we pan in closer?
He was cute, but he was not from New Orleans because he didn't have an accent at all.
All right,
No.
so what?
I'm just saying, like, if I want to have a little something in New Orleans, I want somebody to say, babe.
Oh.
You know what? I ain't gonna lie. It do sound sexy when they say that. Not gonna lie. When I was in New Orleans, when March, yeah, they was talking that stuff, and I was in it. I was hypnotized. I was like, "Yep, I love it. I love it."
Yes, so Saeed is Mahdi's friend. That again, you guys, like all of a sudden he has a friend. You know, I talked about how he already had the American slang down, which I thought was weird because as you're learning another language, yes, you learn slang, but you don't get it. You don't get it. You know, you guys know. You guys already know how I am with sayings. You don't get it down right away, and he has it down, and it's too weird. And now he has a friend that's coming in from wherever he's coming in. I don't know. I wasn't a fan. They're like Facebook friends or social media friends. Literally, my note says, ugh. So he's meeting with Saeed and he's telling his friend who's never met in real life, he's only been social media friends, how he's uncomfortable with his fiance and thinking that his fiance is bisexual. You're telling a perfect stranger who you've never met in real life this is the first thing you're saying? And they haven't even met you? It's trash. Kelly, it's trash.
Off the camera.
Trash. So they're getting married literally in 3 days. And Saeed, his quote unquote social media friend, who's also living in the US, who's been here for 10 years, tells him that, you know, naked paintings is not okay. And, you know, are you sure you know your quote unquote American wife? And he's like, yeah, I don't know. I feel like my wife is interested in same sex. And he's like, you know, love is not enough. If you're feeling like you have these quote unquote terrible feelings, then you have to think about it. I was like, where am I? What is this?
This reminds me of, oh my God, what was his name? Irv, the guy from Turkey. He met somebody on the flight, and then he brought the person from the flight to meet his fiance. And she was like, "Who is this person that you brought here?"
Yeah, I'm not into
I met him on the plane.
My note says SMH to the friend, the fakery, right? Because you're feeling concern for this person that you literally just met in real life, and then you're saying like, oh, you're having these terrible feelings and you can't just like, what do you know? You met me for 5 minutes.
Camera.
Oscar
goes to
Saeed 100%. He goes on to say that he feels that Stevie's keeping secrets from Mahdi, and he then confronts Stevie and says, you know, do you really think you're concerned about his concerns, and do you love him, or are you just being selfish? And like for me, I would have been like that part with the fingers. You don't know me, I don't know you, and I don't have to answer to you. That's what I would have been like. Like, what? Moving on to Sarper and Shekinah, 49 days to get married. One of the things that you guys, I talk about a lot in the show. I tell you there are 5 things that you have to have a conversation about before you get in a serious relationship. One of them is sex. Sex is important. I don't care what anyone says. You have to be compatible. And that is one of the things that is holding Sarper and Shekinah together. but they also have to talk about the communication and the trust. And so here we are. They have makeup sex. Sarper is like, our relationship, our connection is 1 in a million. I'm your soulmate, all of that. Yes, you guys, it's very important. But one of the things that I think is something that they lack in as a couple is that they think that they communicate, but they do not. They talk at each other and they say horrible things when their feelings are hurt or when they don't understand, and they lash out. And an example being is they sit down and they're talking about, whether we should be together, whether in it or we're not in it. And Sarper really wants to talk about like where he is and how he's been depressed and all of those things. Those are valid things for someone coming from a completely separate country, but Shekinah's not trying to hear it. She's like, yeah, is it right for him to lash out at her? No, but is she having the conversations about how hard it is to migrate to a whole new country and not have anyone else there but you, and Kelly, not to put you on the spot, but, you're New York born and bred. You left that state and moved to another state, and it wasn't easy.
Nope.
You didn't have a support system.
At all.
You didn't have friends. You didn't have your job and the security of that. Do you want to talk a little bit about, even from state to state, how hard that is?
It is. It's a completely culture shock from state to state because you're not in your, your common area. You're not secure, and the unknown is always scary, basically. And when that person that you depend on is not there all the time, you're just stuck and you're sitting there thinking your thoughts and trying to figure out the next step, next move, but you're depending on this person to help you. And when that person is not there, you get frustrated. And it's 100%. Like, what am I supposed to do? But 100%. That person's not thinking about that. They're thinking it's selfish. Do you feel that they're both the same person?
Sarper and Shekinah?
Yeah.
I feel like they're similar personalities, but I think that Shekinah doesn't also know what Sarper, in addition, has to go through. Because in addition to what you're saying, Kelly, when you're coming from a completely different country, not just state to state, you can't work from another country. You are financially dependent on that American until you are able to work. Mm-hmm. He can't drive. Like she even said, he doesn't have a U.S. driver's license. So again, he has to get around on his own. And if he doesn't even know the bus routes of where he lives, and she hasn't taken the time to say, here are the bus routes and here's how it works here. And this is like the map. Because even being in New York City, listen, put me on a train all day long and I'm there, but I also know it. If no one showed it to me, then I would be like a typical tourist and jump in a taxi. Not even an Uber, because taxis are so prevalent there, right? I wouldn't even go in a ghost car. I would go in a taxi because that's what I know. So if she hasn't set him up for success, then it's very difficult. And I can see how he would be depressed. Abby, do you want to add anything?
I think that Sarper was more accommodating to Shekinah when she was in Turkey, because whenever she would come and visit, he would do some of his work from home and they would spend the majority of their time together. On their second day in LA, she was like, I have a client coming over, you got to get out. Mm-hmm. So I don't think that she's been nearly as accommodating to Sarper as he was to her.
100%. So one of the things that she finally decides is that her live workspace is not going to be live workspace. It's going to be a live space. She finds a place to work out of. She has her handyman, David.
Dan is the friend.
Daniel. That's what it is. Daniel come, and Sarper immediately is jealous, and he talks about, which I love, is this whole like saying that he has for back home, the handyman fork, where you have no belt, you have a butt crack, the fork is the crack. A good handyman has a crack. I don't see a crack. I don't see a belly. All the things. I died of laughter. Doesn't want to have Shekinah talk to the handyman about her life because why are you engaging with him that way? Meanwhile, he's working on this comedy, which I think is interesting because, I mean, doing stand-up comedy, I guess you could do it volunteer, but the comedy club on Sunset Boulevard, I just don't see how he didn't get paid. Like, I don't know. I thought about it. So he had a comedy night. Dan, who is Shekinah's ex, shows up, and there's a whole 5-minute situation, which I thought he bombed. And he was talking about Dan and made it personal, and it was like terrible. So that's what happened. Anyone wants to add to that before I move on?
No, let's go.
Okay,
ladies. I'm gonna have to depart.
Okay. You held on for a long time, here. Kelly. Thank you.
Love y'all. Gotta go walk the doggy. All right, guys. Bye.
Look, I did a proper heart. Thank you, Kelly, for being here. We appreciate you.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Okay, who are we talking about next?
Mark and Mina.
Okay.
So we're going to power through. I know you guys were going long, but we had a special guest. Everyone make sure you go and like and subscribe to Kelly. He stayed much. He was only supposed to be there for 10 minutes. He stayed for like 2 hours. So thank you, Kelly, for being here. Mark and Mina, they have 11 days to get married. It's Mark's birthday. They go out to eat in Boston. Oh, excuse me, before they go out to eat, she makes breakfast for him, and it's very crepe, less pancake, which I thought was very Euro versus American, which was funny to me. They're going to Boston, and they are going to meet up with Alex, which is Mina's sister, who's coming from Brussels for 11 days for the wedding, because, they have 11 days to get married. And part of the conversation they're having is whether Clayton, Mina's son, is going to be at the wedding. Her brother's supposed to bring him, but again, they're having passport issues. Abby, do you want to talk about any of that? Because I just still don't understand, like, what is the issue? Her sister's able to come, and I guess she's able to come on that D visa thing that we talked about last week. The brother, yeah. So what's the hold up with the son?
Yeah. If sister is a citizen of Belgium, then she could come in on ESTA, I believe. If she's not, if she's a citizen of a different country, then she may be applied for a visitor's visa, and that's how she's coming. The issue with Clayton, he said earlier in the episode, Mark said that they thought that Clayton would be able to just come under Mina's K1, and that's not true. He would need his own K2 visa, which are, children under 21, unmarried, coming along with the K1 applicant. And that K2 visa has to be placed in their own passport. They can't come under their parents' passport. And so he said that they are having trouble getting Clayton's passport. My suspicion, which he has confirmed at this point, is that Mina and Clayton are not French citizens. So they're having to obtain this passport from whatever her birth country is, and Clayton's birth country, which that part has not been confirmed or disclosed. I personally guessed Cameroon, but there are plenty of French-speaking countries in Africa that it could be where her birth country is. And I know that in some of those countries, it's pretty difficult to get your passport if you're not physically in that country. And the problem with being physically in that country is that if you don't have status in France, then once you leave, it may be very difficult for you to be able to return. So I don't know exactly what the issues are going on with being able to get Clayton's passport issued, but it's probably something, in that realm. And then beyond that, once they get the passport, they need to get the K2 stamp if their home country is not a country where they can travel visa-free. So I don't know what part of that process they're in with only 11 days left. But yeah, that's the issue.
It's a lot, and it's sad because if he doesn't have it by now and it's 11 days, he's not getting it. And I know that a lot of you are further ahead. I didn't see him in any of the clips of the wedding ceremony itself. So if he was there, you guys let me know because we're not there yet. But I didn't see him. So one of the things that I also wanted to talk about was that Maria talks to Mina talks to Mark about the prenup and basically says, despite what happens between the two of us, I need you to adopt Clayton and I will sign the prenup and that will be that. And then if not, then, Maria and I will go back to France and call it a day. And then this is where Mark was like, no, Maria's going to stay with me despite what happens with us because she's an American. And I was like, oh, what does that look like? So she signs the prenup and she thinks she's protecting herself and her children under like him adopting Clayton. What does that look like, April? How can
So, yeah.
immigrant who has a child separate and apart from her husband, but also has a child with her husband, is in a situation where a prenup is necessary? What does that look like? Does it make a difference if the stepfather adopts the child? What like
Well,
what does that look like?
she didn't go far enough with her request. She thinks that him adopting Clayton would protect Clayton financially. But he could still have a will that says neither Clayton nor Maria inherit anything from him. So if her concern was making sure that Clayton was protected, then the prenup should have stipulated that she would be entitled to some kind of annual benefit um, while the marriage continues. I remember when I read Beyonce and Jay-Z's prenup was public. And I remember there was a provision in there that for every child that they had together, that she was entitled to $5 million or some rough dollar amount. And for every year of the marriage, she was entitled to X millions of dollars. So their prenup was written in such a way that she was gifted money out of the relationship for how long it lasted and how many children they had, as opposed to you can only have half of my this and this and this and this and this. So I think she'd want to look to that kind of model of a prenup for protection, because the adoption alone doesn't mean that he's financially protected.
Absolutely. Moving on to John. Juan and Jessica, they have 30 days to get married. They're having a joint bachelorette party in North Dakota. They rented a Airbnb home in Deadwood. Don't know where that is, but I'm sure some of you guys do. One of the things I thought was weird was that Jessica's mom was in the car in the back seat, and they didn't acknowledge her. They didn't have like a little, a placate card that said who she was. She was just there. It was so weird.
Yeah, I thought maybe she asked for that. Maybe she didn't want to be recognized. I couldn't think of any reason why.
It was weird, but then they like showed her. It was, I don't know. They get to the Airbnb. Megan and Herbie, her husband, arrive. It's like a whole, I don't know. I'm still single white female with Megan. Leonardo, who is Juan's cousin, is on his way. We find out that he hasn't seen his cousin in 23 years since his mom and dad passed away. And so that was going to be a whole, reunion and situation, which I also thought was like, oh, can we learn a little bit more? Like, does he live in, where does he live? Is he in Utah? Like, where is he?
I think they said he came from New York and he has 2 kids.
Oh, I missed the New York part. So he gets there. They're going to go to Mount Rushmore. It's raining. It's not beautiful. It's cloudy. Juan's not impressed. As they're driving there, he's talking about going back on the ship and making money. And Leonardo's like, you need to be patient. 8 months on a ship away from your wife, you need to talk to her about it because you guys are in a relationship and you guys have a kid. 8 months is a long time. And I was impressed by him saying that.
Yeah.
So they get back to the house after Mount Rushmore was a flop and it was cold, it was wet, they couldn't see through the clouds, total bust. They get back to the house, they're going to change. Megan has made shirts for the bachelorette party. And on the shirts for Juan is Jessica's face. On the shirts for Leonardo and her husband is Juan's face. And I just thought, it's a lot, y'all. It's a lot. I just really feel like she's in love with Jessica, period, full stop. So they go, they party, and one of the things I thought was interesting, and I wanted to know how it is in your state. So they went to like a strip bar. There were strippers. The strippers were stripping and literally took everything off. In Canada, it's full nudity at the strip bars. It wasn't until I came to America and went to a strip bar that it's like everything is bikini bars. And I don't know if it's because Americans don't know how to behave, what the laws are, but it's very different. Like a strip bar in Canada is a strip bar. A strip bar in America is not a full strip bar. Abby, can you elaborate? I know you're an immigration attorney, but maybe you have some thoughts.
Yeah, so every state gets to regulate that on their own.
Mm-hmm.
So depending on what state you're in, is whatever their nudity laws are. I actually don't think we have any titty bars in DC. I think you have to go to Maryland or Virginia for that. I'm searching in my brain right now. I don't think there's any in DC at all.
Wow.
In Georgia, we have bikini bars. Georgia is Bible Belt area. So
it's
you're
bars.
not gonna have any full nudity there.
Listen, not that I should know this.
Legal.
Listen, not that I should know this, but I don't think that there's a state in America that's full. It's full nudity, and I get it. Y'all don't know how to behave. I mean, look at what's happened these last few days. Y'all don't know how to behave. Behave yourselves. It'll be better for y'all. Moving on, we have one more couple that we want to cover.
Okay.
Well, throuple, and I'll get to them in literally 2 minutes because there's nothing. Annie, Imani, and Matt, again, as I told you guys from the very beginning of the season, there's no dates on where they're going to get married. We saw the 90-day couple, so there was the 90th wedding on this last episode on Sunday for all the couples. So they've had 90 couples, you guys, that have married in the franchise. And nowhere in this were Annie, Imani, and Matt. So they are meeting with Ray, Annie's ex. They only found out about him through social media, and he only found out about them through social media. Amani's like, he wasn't what she was expecting, tiny, maybe not as beautiful, which FYI, side note, I saw a video of her yesterday, you guys, and, I didn't know she was getting a BBL and a nose job and all the things. She looks nothing like she did when she was on the show. Nothing. And she talked about how, you have to, be comfortable with who you are and body positivity and all this stuff. But while she was saying all this stuff in the video, I was looking at all the changes she made, and I felt she was beautiful. I don't know what it is, you guys. I love me some Darcy. I love me some Stacey, Shekinah, all of that. But that plastic surgery look, I'm not sure what it is, but it's something, because there are a ton of people that do that and attain to that. And Imani has fallen into, in my opinion, my words, into that whole thing. She just doesn't look like who she was. I'm shocked. I'm shocked.
Yeah.
So Annie and Matt have a date that Amani set up for them, and it's just the two of them, and it's like, okay, okay, what are we seeing from that? Because it seemed awkward as anything. And then when they met up with Ray, and then Ray told the story about being an ex-boyfriend, and they were together since 2022. They stayed friends, but because he's American, there's some sketchy thing that he set up the account so the money ran through his account. I don't know, Abby. It seems super sketchy to me. Like, you can send a Western Union to Mexico easily, and it could be in American dollars that they translate over. I don't know. Something seems sketchy there.
I don't know, because I used to pay, I used a tutor in Mexico,
Mm-hmm.
and I used to pay her through her son's PayPal. Her son had set up a PayPal when he was in the States. And I never asked her why. My assumption was that she didn't lose money on the conversion.
Mm. Okay. That's fair.
You know.
What we learn about Annie is that she has another name, Brenda, and Amani wants to run with it, thinks it's an alias, and doesn't trust her and freaks out. And that is where we left it. And that's it. You guys, I know we went over a long time. We're 2 hours over. But we had to catch up. We're going to catch up again Friday, so that we can cover the tell-all on Monday, which will be on Sunday. You guys, don't forget to like and subscribe to Abby V Attorney everywhere on social media. Linda is so girly everywhere on social media. We appreciate you guys being here and catching up with us. Definitely hit us up in the comments. Abby, there are some comments from last week that you need to check out because they're all questions.
Okay.
And you guys, we love you. Thank you. Kelly, shout out. We love you for being here. Thank you for hanging out for so long. We'll see you guys very soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye.